Hello everyone and welcome to this interesting video. So today we are going to create this news app. Let me just show you how it looks like. Yeah, so as you can see, we have pictures of different types of news. We have the title, then we have like the description about the news. Okay, so it's an interesting story. So the resources that we're going to use is this. First, we're going to use news API to make the request to their API endpoints. Then we're going to use material UI to make that nice user interface. Okay, so I'm very excited for this. So I'm going to create a new app on this folder. So let me just open it in my terminal. Then I'll say npx create react. I'm going to call it news. Okay, so we're creating this new app in this folder here. So as it installs, so npx enables us to use the latest version of create react app. So when it creates the new project, it will be like the latest project. Okay, so let me just show you how you can get the API key. So first you need to come to newsapi.org and then you create an account. Once you've created an account, you are going to get an API key. Okay, so they're going to generate for you an API key. There is a way you're going to be able to access it, and then once you get the API key, it will be like embedded in your URL you request. Okay, so right now you can see my API key is already embedded here. So please don't use my API key because I'm going to generate a new one after this. So the current API key we won't be working when you will be seeing this video. So right now we're going to get the top business headlines in the US at the moment. Okay, so we're going to use this URL here to hit this endpoint, and once we've hit that endpoint, this is the response that we're going to get. Okay, so you're going to get this response and be able to access things like the images and all of that. Okay, it's going to be an interesting project and I'm very excited for it. So let's see if our app has already finished initializing. So I'll be back once this has already finished initializing. Our app has already been initialized, so let's open it in VS Code. So I'll just come here and then I'll open it in terminal and then again and I'll write code dot. This is a way of opening your project, the current folder in VS Code. So yeah, let's go through what we see right now. We have different folders. We have the source folder, and this is what we're going to be using for most of the time. So let me just run this app. So I'll open my terminal and then I'll say npm start. Yeah, so this is what you get when you run the app. Okay, so there are some of the things that you don't need. So if you go to app.js, this is the code that is currently being shown on the page. I'm going to delete the logo. I want the logo to be there. Then I just want to output and header one. Then I'm going to say welcome to news API. Okay, welcome to news app. Welcome to news app. Okay. Right now, if you check the page, you see welcome to news app. Then there are some of the things that we don't need now. For example, let me just delete some of these things. I'm going to delete the logo, test files, and yeah, that's all I need to delete now. I'll delete these ones. Then now we have our app up and running. Okay, so I'll import React because I want there's some things I want to import React that will enable us to access the API. First, let's get that API. So on the API for top business headlines, I'll just copy this. Then when I come here, I'll create a variable for it. So let's say I want it to be a constant, the URL. Then I'll paste the API endpoint. Okay, so we want a way of tracking the data that we get from this endpoint. So I'll just say that data and set data I'm using now use state. Okay, it's to use state, which I haven't imported, but let me just make this and import it first, and then I'll show you. Yes, we'll import it from React. So what is useState and what does it do? So useState is a hook that enables us to track the state of our React component. Okay, so currently I'm setting the initial state to be an empty object. So data at this point is equals to this empty object. So whenever you use useState, the first value that you get is the initial value of the data which you set here, which I've set here as an empty object. The second value is function that enables you to change the initial value. Okay, so if you want to update the value, you'll be using set data. So set data is a function that enables us to change state of our current data. Okay, then now I'm also going to use effect. Okay, use effect is another hook. Okay, so use effect enables us to have the React Live components. You have them and you can access them in a function component. Okay, so we're going to use that here. So we will use use effect to get this data from this URL. So let me just use effect. Now that it does use effect work, it first takes in a function as the first value, and then it takes an array, a dependency array, as the second value. So if you leave it as an empty array, that means that it will run after this component has been mounted. Okay, then if you put to it dependency like data, it will only change after when the value of data changes. Okay, so right now I want it to be an empty array so that it runs once when the component has mounted. So this is similar to component did mount. Okay, so inside here we want to have a function which is an asynchronous function to get the data. So let's call it fetch data. Then it will be an asynchronous function. So I'm using arrow function here. So what we're going to get is a response. Okay, the response I will say await fetch, and we pass. So what is happening here? We are awaiting the result of what we get from fetch. So fetch will go to this URL and then to return for us that the response, and then we will save it as resp. Okay, then also now we want to get this response. I'll store it in a result. Then we want to change it into a JSON object. So this one will be response.json because we want to save it as an object. So I want it to be in a JSON format. So right now here we have gotten the response, and then we're making it to be JSON format. Then now we can set our data to be equal to this response result. So we are fetching the data, we're storing it in response, we're making it to be a JSON file, and then we're setting our state to have result as the new data. So set data is a way of changing the initial data, which is an empty object, to be data that we've received from the API. Okay, now let's log this data. Okay, so that you can see how it looks like. So I'll just log data at this point because data has been changed. Then now for this fetch data to work, we'll have to call it. So I'll just call the fetch data inside of this use effect. So this one is the initialization of the function, and then this one is calling it. Okay, so right now that will be working. So I want us to see what the data is because we're console logging it. So if I come to the API and then I open it in the terminal, go to the console, you'll see that let me just refresh it. Refresh it again. Okay, I don't know why it's not showing, so let's handle that. So we will have an if clause here. So we'll say if there's data, then we will return this. We will return that, and then else we will return something that is saying sorry, no data received. Okay, so let's see. If I refresh it now, welcome to the news API, meaning that it should be it will only show that an else clause here. Okay, yeah, it should be in an else clause. That so if there's data, we will return this, else we will just return this. So if it is empty, we will return this. If there's data, we will return that. So right now it's welcome to the news API, meaning there's data and it's here, it has been logged here. So this is the data that we've received from the API. We want to loop over it, but as you can see, this is it's in an articles property in the data. So let's access the article. So let's map through that. Right here we will say we have the data, but now under it is the articles part, which is an array, and now we want to map through that. Whenever we map through this, we will be getting a news item. Okay, then when we get that news item, I want us to return let's say a header one here, and then this header one will be saying we'll be showing the news. Then let's say we want the, what can we show? Let's say we want the title, okay, news and the title. Then we need to give it a key value so that React can track it. So say news dot, let's use one of the values. I think URL will be unique, so news dot. Then let's just put this on top, the heading, okay. So as you can see now, we are getting this welcome, and then we're getting all the titles, okay. So this is very great. So guys, we've solved one of the we've accomplished one of the milestones. So we're going to use Material UI to have this great user interface here. So in Material UI, I'll just copy this. So we will copy this, which is a way of installing it. Then I'll just open a new terminal here, and then I'll paste it. Yeah, so this will install it to our project. So we're going to use this Material UI card here. So you can search for this here. You can say card, right? And then you will select a simple card. So you can search for it here, and then you select the simple card, which will redirect you to this page. So let's look at a nice card that you can use to display. So I chose this, but you can choose any card. So to show you the source code of the code, the source code of this card, so that you can use it, you click here. So you see there is a lot of variety. You can copy the code, the source, but I'll just copy it manually. So this is the source code of this. So let's create a component for showing the news. So I'll just come here and then new file, I'll call it news display .js, okay. Then I have ES6 snippet, so you can install it here. ES7 snippet. This here, it's a nice snippet that enables you to like avoid having to write some of the basic things that you need to do in React. So I'll just use it here. I've used it with this RAFCE to create a React arrow function, okay. So here we will just paste the source code. So I'll just copy everything. I'll copy the imports. I'll just paste it there. Then I'll go back there, and then I want to use these two. Define the styles. Then I'll paste that here. And then we will copy this. All of this. Actually, you can just copy it until the last, so that I just place it here, okay. So this is the component that we'll use to display the news, okay. So I'll just come here and then I'll import it. I'll just import, it's the name, it's called news display, okay. So I will be showing this here. So instead of showing this h1, returning a component called news display, okay. But there are some props that we need to pass down, like this key. So key, I'll pass it as a prop down because it's unique. And there is also this news. To access it, I'll just call it news. Call news equals to news, then I'll delete. So we are returning, we're passing to this component which you've created, the news.url, as a key, because whenever this loops, it will be creating this, so this component, so this will keep it unique. Then the component will also have the news from this news is like the whole object, okay. So when we come to okay, if you just save this and check, you'll see that it renders this a lot of times, but it doesn't have anything. It comes with the predefined value. So we'll come to our component, and then to access this here, you can access it by saying const news is equals to props news, okay. Then this you'll have accessed it from the props, and then now here props you'll have to pass this down that. But you can use destructuring, okay, object destructuring, just say and news, okay. So we have destructured news from props. And now whenever we have this here we want to have news dot title, here we want to have news dot description. So you might be wondering where I'm getting this. So I'm getting this from here. Let me just show you that. Yeah, if I open one of these objects and then I select one, I'm getting this, the description, the title, then I want also the URL to image, okay, URL to image. So I'll just say here in the image where the value is image, I'll just say use URL to image. Then for the title, I'll just say news.title. Then I want also this to be news.title. So yeah, so if we save this, you will see that now we're getting a nice display. We're getting the pictures and everything. So let's style this so that it is at the center, okay. So I'll just create a new CSS for this particular component. So I'll call it news. Call it the same name as the component news display, but the extension is .css. Then here I'll wrap this in a div called content. So this is BEM naming system. You can check it out, or if you want me to create a video about it, you can let me know in the comments. So right now I have wrapped this in a content wrapper. Then I'll come to my display and then I'll say that I want this to display flex, okay, flex, and then the flex direction is just the column. Then the justified content, I want the content to be the center, and then I want also to align items at the center. Then I want it to have a margin of, say 10 pixels, okay. So let's save that and see. Okay, now I need to import it here for it to have effect. So I'll import my CSS here. I'll import it from current folder, news display.css. Now you can see everything is wrapped up nicely. Okay, so guys, this is the project, and yeah, we've done it. Now we have our own news app where you can go and check the latest news, and it's a very interesting news. So you can expand on this and make it more interesting, and even share it with us. So I'm happy to have made this with you guys. So if you want me to continue making such videos, please like, subscribe, and even share. Don't forget to even comment, okay. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.